Who's ready for a fairy tale story? I am. This is called Magic Growing Powder by Janet Quinn Harkin. Well, let's see what the pages look like. Magic Growing Powder. Once upon a time, there was a king named Max. He was very, very short. King Max hated being short, although no one else seemed to mind. He spent all his time trying to make himself taller. He hung by his hands from the lights, but that just hurt his arms. He hung by his feet too. There he is. He ate bowl after bowl of spinach until he began to turn green. But nothing made him taller, so King Max sat and sulked all day. He sent his whole court away and filled the palace with strange people who promised to make him taller. His only child, Princess Penny, was very sad. "Father," she said, "there is no one to rule your kingdom." But the king would not listen to her, so things got worse and worse. And in fact, he's reading a book that says Think Tall, and that's Princess Penny. One day, two strangers came to see the king. "Your Majesty," they said, "we have brought you this." And they opened a small wooden box. "What is it?" asked King Max. "It looks like a box of sand." And he's looking inside. "Magic growing powder," said the strangers. "When some of this falls onto a living thing, it grows overnight." "How much does a powder cost?" asked the king. "Half of your kingdom," said one of the strangers. "And your daughter's hand in marriage," said the other. "Cheap at the price," said the king. Princess Penny did not believe the strangers, and she did not want to marry either one. "Now wait a minute, Father," she said. "We must test the powder first." "Very well," said the king. The strangers went to the window and sprinkled some powder onto the daisies below. "Just wait overnight," said the strangers. At night, they dug up the daisies and planted sunflowers. Sure enough, by morning, there were flowers reaching to the window ledge. "I'll take the powder," said the king. "Just a minute," said the princess. "It worked on flowers, but does it work on anything else? We must try it again." "Oh, very well," said the king. So the strangers sprinkled some on the palace cat. They shut it in the cellar for the night. While everyone else was asleep, they brought in a tiger instead. Next morning, a deep growl came from the cellar. "Goodness," shouted the king, "that cat is huge. The powder works. Bring me half my kingdom." "Just a minute, Father," said Princess Penny. "You wouldn't want to grow too tall, would you? Look how large those flowers and that cat grow. Try the powder on these men first. Then we shall know the correct dose for a person." "Good idea," said the king. Uh-oh. But the strangers didn't think so. They looked unhappy when the king sprinkled powder on their heads. They looked unhappy when guards locked them in their room for the night. But in a few minutes, they fell asleep. So far, so good, said Princess Penny. She had put a sleeping powder into their wine. When all was quiet, she crept out of the palace and called together all the carpenters and all the tailors and all the shoemakers. They made 2 tiny beds. They made tiny shoes and tiny clothes. They lowered the ceiling. There you go. In the morning, when the 2 strangers woke up, they were hanging over the ends of their beds. They leaped up and banged their heads still on the ceiling. They tried to get dressed, but their clothes were much too tiny. Princess Penny's pretty smart. Help, help! We turned into giants, screamed the 2 men. They leaped out of the window, ran away, and were never seen again. Princess Penny told her father what she had done. What a fool I've been, he sighed. I should have quit right now and let you be queen. Rubbish, said Princess Penny. Being short doesn't matter. You can be a good king if you try. So King Max called back all the court. He worked so hard at being a good king that he didn't have time to notice he was short. And what's more, his people didn't notice he was short either. Because short is beautiful. How many of you out there are short? I'm short. You're still great, just the way you are. I'll see you later. Bye.